There's this one thing that's commonly ignored that will just ruin your flexibility, and that's the nervous system. So often we can obsess on what are the right stretches and what are the specific techniques to do, but if we don't take into account the nervous system, our flexibility gains will suffer. So in this video, I'm going to explain more the role of the nervous system and 3 techniques that you can use to improve your mobility instantly. So the nervous system actually controls our ability to stretch. When you feel yourself moving into a deep stretch position, the nervous system has programmed in it a stretch reflex. This reflex is actually designed to keep us safe so that we don't end up accidentally injuring ourselves. But over time, with dedication and practicing safely, we can improve our stretch reflex. And I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can instantly override your stretch reflex safely to improve your range of motion. So the first is an end range isometric. In an end range isometric, we find a deep stretch and hold it. After holding for about a minute, we then apply force in the opposite direction of the deep stretch, as if we're trying to push or pull ourselves out of the stretch. But we do this without changing our position at all. By contracting the muscles and holding this position for around 10 to 20 seconds, we then cue the nervous system to be able to relax and go deeper from what it was used to. You'll then find a new barrier of stretch, which then you can repeat this technique and go even deeper. So to summarize, a great way to implement this would be to hold a 60-second stretch and then do a 10-second end range isometric contraction, relax, soften, hold the stretch again, and repeat the isometric and find your newly acquired range. The next way to directly affect our nervous system is through the breath. Our breath is actually a tool to directly hack the autonomic nervous system. And the way that we breathe actually informs the body if we should tighten up or relax. I talk about this in detail in the vagus nerve video, which I'll put a link to at the end of this. So here's the secret to let your body relax while you're stretching and actually be able to instantly go deeper. This parasympathetic technique that I'm going to show you is going to do just that. This is a very simple technique, but it requires dedication and focus. What you're going to do is practice inhaling through your nose for 4 counts, and then exhaling through your nose for 6 to eventually 8 counts. Focusing on increasing the length of the exhalation will help to activate the parasympathetic and help us to be able to relax and go deeper in our stretches. Now, this last one is going to seem kind of strange, but I assure you it's the most often overlooked and can have a dramatic, significant impact. So just as we learned that the breath has the ability to cue the autonomic nervous system to fight back or to relax into a stretch, the position of the pelvis in the rib cage will cue the breath on how to relax. Now this seems kind of weird, but stay with me. By repositioning the pelvis in the rib cage, we can allow for a full exhalation. This allows us to shift from an excited or sympathetic state to relaxed or parasympathetic state. And this will allow for the potential for full range of motion of our joints. And crazy enough, this improves our flexibility instantly, quicker than anything else that we could do. Now, because of stress, tension, poor posture, the rib cage and the pelvis are chronically out of communication. It's difficult for most people to connect the rib cage to the pelvis and to be able to get a full exhalation. Because our diaphragm is working 24/7 and having an influence on our vagus nerve and our organs, this condition can start to become chronic, and we can be in a stressed, tense state 24/7 until we implement this technique and help us to relax and be able to move towards our fullest potential. So let me explain how to do this. For this technique, you're going to start in a 90-90 position. Lie down with your back on the floor and your feet at the wall. There should be a 90-degree angle between your shins and your thighs, and a 90-degree angle between your thighs and your torso. I recommend using a pillow under your head so that your chin doesn't tip back. First, with your feet, you'll pull down on the wall so that you can feel your hamstrings engage. And as you do that, you'll feel your buttocks reach towards the backs of your knees to help to reposition your pelvis. Third, you'll do a long, slow exhalation. You can do this through your mouth at first to exaggerate it so you can really feel the movement of your rib cage. You'll exhale all of the air out as if you're filling up a balloon, and you'll feel the front of your rib cage move in and down towards your pelvis. Then you'll take a slow inhalation through the nose, but instead of just feeling the front of your rib cage lift forward and up, you're going to feel a diaphragmatic movement, by feeling the sides of the ribs move out to the side like an accordion. This movement is key for retraining the diaphragm how to move properly. And as mentioned before, it's going to help to improve our vagal tone. Instead of just focusing on how much we can pull air in, I want you to focus on the exhalation, exhaling every drop of air out without straining or tensing. Then you'll feel the breath move in through your nose gently, but you won't take a full breath. Maybe just take 3/4. And then again, focus on exhaling every drop of air out and feeling the movement of the rib cage, specifically feeling the front of the rib cage connect down towards the pelvis so that the rib cage can move towards its home. Our rib cages often get stuck forward and up, putting us into extension, putting us into the inhaled or excited state. As a result, it's very difficult for us to exhale fully, to return to the parasympathetic, to return to the rest digest, to the feeling of calm, to the feeling of balance. Try a stretch like a seated forward fold, and then try 5 rounds of this breath. Then try the forward fold right after. You'll be amazed at how much your flexibility improves. Another way that you could test it is by testing the range of motion of your hip before and after this technique. If you're interested in learning more about the nervous system and specifically the role that the vagus nerve plays, click this video next.